Oh, well, it's loading.
Oh, I didn't realize there's a buffer.
Okay, we're live.
All right, we're live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your first MLK Day session. Woo! Today we're having a village discussion with some lovely members from the CYNY community. We'll have Shakur Joseph, who is an IM at PSMS 206. We'll have Delasia Logan, who's a second year ACM at Gateway. We'll have Riley Andrews, an ACM at IS 123. And then we have Alex Chen, who is an ACM also at IS 123. I look forward to discussing with them. And so I'm going to kick it over to the lovely Emily to take us away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't think there's anyone inside this chat right now. I think we were just talking to no one.
Yeah, I think there's only one listener.
Yeah.
No, someone's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
a few people texting.
Yeah, we have a bunch of people. People are here, ready.
Oh,
yes, we have people here. How about we throw on the chat real quick so we get some engagement of how people are doing. Throw one word you feeling this lovely morning, this day of service.
Amazing. So many people.
Yes, we have our friends. Awesome. Kicking it to you, Emily.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Emily Freitas. I use the she, hers pronouns, and I'm currently serving as a team leader at PSMS 57. Go Tigers. In my role, I lead a team of 10 amazing individuals. Shout out to any of those that are in the call today. And we all work in partnership with our school to support students and school staff through this difficult time. My team works tirelessly to connect students with the resources needed so that they do not fall behind in a time when it's so easy to lack motivation. This can look like a daily phone call to motivate students to simply show up, or setting up private tutoring for students who just started showing up to school halfway through the year so they can understand that it's never too late. I decided to move to New York City from San Diego last year in August 2019, or 2 years ago now, to pursue a year of service with City Year because I believe in the power of education. I commit to working against systemic inequities in education. Personal experiences have revealed that resources and outcomes could vary so drastically mere miles apart. The education system presents many obstacles in the way of success for certain people or groups of people. Pursuing service with City Year gives me the opportunity to provide additional resources to students that would otherwise lack based on their zip code. The COVID-19 pandemic abruptly broke out and affected many lives, cutting my time short with my students last year. My work felt unfinished and I wasn't ready to let go of City Year. I am beyond grateful for being given the opportunity to come back and serve as a team leader for this school year. Thank you all so much for being here today. I believe that there's so much power in hearing from one another's experiences. With that being said, I would like to introduce our panelists. We have 4 amazing individuals that work in various schools throughout New York City. So hello to all the panelists. I'm going to start with you all telling us a little bit about yourself and your current role and what made you decide to join City Year.
I can go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Delasia Logan. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm currently a second-year AmeriCorps member, proudly serving at Gateway IS 264 in East New York, Brooklyn. Fun fact, that's also my middle school that I went to when I was younger. And I currently work with my 8th grade math teacher, who was my 8th grade math teacher. And I work with 7th graders now. And the reason why I joined City Year is because I wanted to learn more about the education system. I think it's different when you're a student in the school as opposed to an educator. And I learned so much already from City Year. And what else do I have to answer? Oh, I think that's it. And another reason why I joined City Year is because I just believe in what City Year stands for, and I love working with young people. Great to be here today.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Hi, I'll go next. So my name is Riley Andrews, and I'm a first-year AmeriCorps member serving at JHS 123 in the South Bronx. I love the energy in the chat. I love seeing 123 show up. Y'all are so cute. And I'm from South Jersey, so I'm not originally from New York City. I moved specifically for City Year, and it's been an incredible opportunity. I've already fallen in love with the city, and being at home for break was miserable. I just wanted to come back. And this is my second service year with an AmeriCorps program. So I serve because I have the ability to do so. And service to me is not an obligation or a sacrifice. It's my passion, and it's the place where I found that I belong and that I have the most impact. And City Year provides that unique opportunity to serve alongside future generations and provide support to students who need it. That is why I decided to continue my service and my impact with City Year specifically. I commit myself to service because every day I work, I see students who are being lost due to the impact of virtual service. I see the distancing and I see the lack of attendance. And if me just doing this job and me existing with them and being part of their lives increases that and increases the likelihood of them succeeding, then that's where I want to be. And I'm here because I need to be, and because, like everyone said, social equity starts as young as school age, and it starts where our students learn their value and learn what impact that they can have. And that's the education system. And I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really thankful for the impact that I can have this year.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex, and I am a first-year ACM serving at JHS 123 with my fellow teammate Riley. And part of the reason why I serve is because I personally believe that every student and every individual has very unique talents that are catered to their own, and that's something that really draws me and my attention because everyone is greatly, just great in all ways, and I've seen that a lot in the students I've served at, and also I am from New York City, but I moved around a little bit when I was younger. And the second reason why I also serve is because I think this is partially due to some of my experience adversity and perseverance, which has led me to kind of just push forward and giving back to those who also felt like they're in a similar situation as what I was in years ago, and that's something that I'm looking to continue to keep pushing. It's believing the power of young people and pushing those who might need a little bit otherwise, and I definitely have seen that a lot for the past 6 months at JHS 123, and for my teammates, both my students, they're all amazing people. Service is love, and I'm going to keep doing this until whenever, and that's all.
Dope. Good morning, everybody. My name is Shakur Joseph, and I'm an impact manager at PSMS 206 in East Harlem, New York. This is my third year as an IM, and I joined City Year originally because the mission of social emotional learning inside of our schools were my biggest focus, and trying to reach a larger population of students who just need that emotional support just to get through their day. I think a lot of what we see inside of our public schools is just testing and getting those grades up. And I think one of my biggest reasons for joining City was because I noticed that a lot of academics were at the forefront, but just having students come in just ready and focused, and knowing that they were heard and that they're listened to and that they are special, something that I really wanted to prioritize. And City Year has been able to give me that opportunity to really stretched like the social emotional aspect of service. So I'm really excited about like joining this organization, and same as Alex, I want to see where I'm going to go from here.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for letting us know why you're here and your roles. I think that this is an awesome panel because we have people from all different schools and all different levels of working within City Years. So love hearing experiences from all those different angles. So moving forward, we want to talk a little bit about overcoming all of the COVID-19 impacts that we've had this year. I know a lot of our viewers are very interested in how that's affected our schools. So this year obviously has been very challenging for us all, given that we're still in a global pandemic. When the pandemic hit, all of our lives were affected in some way. Our school systems had to adapt to virtual learning without any warning or preparation. This time of uncertainty has forced us to learn and reflect in many ways. So what have you, your team, and school done to face these challenges?
I would say that what my school and my team has done has definitely kept the communication alive and the community within the school alive. I would say since my school is so small, um, they do a lot of like community events to keep the students engaged through virtual learning. They did a gingerbread contest. They have a lot of like town hall meetings where it's like all the students and all the staff, and they definitely keep the community alive doing those things. I think those are very helpful, especially because we like no longer work in person in the schools. So just seeing each other's faces and being able to keep that communication, the community alive within the school. I think that's been helpful for me as well. And I just look forward to going on and seeing their faces through virtual. I know a lot of people don't like to keep their cameras on, but I think it's definitely helpful. And what my team has done is just been just showing up, I would say, showing up for the students and showing up for each other. And yeah, I think that's really what my school has been doing. It's just been keeping that community aspect alive within the school, and that's been helpful to me.
Amazing. That's definitely something I see at my school as well, just trying to keep the community aspect in the virtual world as much as possible to make it as normal as we can for our kids. Anything else happening at any other schools?
Oh, dope. So I could take a shot at that. I I want to say like coming out of a service year last year, where like service was switched really abruptly, and we had to like redesign what like service looked like on a day-to-day aspect. I think something that like one this whole site has done, but like ideally my team is really trying to like identify the areas of which we already provided services inside of the building, and just like trying to figure out ways to like keep them prevalent during like the virtual spaces. So that's still having like those one-on-one intervention spaces or the breakout rooms, like holding after school for some of us. I think a lot of what we do is like the fundamentals, and we don't really take into account for like how important those things are, especially here at City Year. So that's like being in classrooms with teachers, supporting virtually, having office hours. Um, I think biggest piece, if we're like thinking about what are like the additional steps that we've done moving like away from just like the traditional norm, is that like we put after school on a virtual platform for the first time that I've never had to work with before, which was it's a really dope experience. It's a learning curve, but it's like super dope holding these virtual events for in school and after school. I think like this year, my team has coordinated like Battle of the Grades in our in school program. We've done last year like talent shows for the kids virtually. So I think like the creativity aspect has been something that a lot of our AmeriCorps members have brought to the table to support our students with either like their learning loss or just like their engagement inside of the building. So there's like so much that I want to say has taken place in these past like 12 months and the like past year, I believe. So to kind of like give some highlights, I think those are like the biggest pieces, but I think creativity has just been like one of the biggest pieces that my team has supported with just like furthering service and making it feel authentic for our students.
Awesome. I'll leave some space for like 10 more seconds to see if anyone else wants to jump in that, or we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, I'll jump in to discuss a little bit about what's been going on at 123. I'll be brief so that we can continue with time. But at 123, as a first year, I had no previous experience with service, and I don't know what normal city year service is supposed to look like. But every day, my team at 123, we try to find ways to connect to our students, whether that's through like positivity emails or our events, our wonderful events coordinators and after school coordinators planning mental health events, virtual talent shows, anything to create community and to continue building that SEL piece. Knowing that our students love us and they want us to be there, and knowing that they know that we're there for them is what we try to focus on at 123. And just continuing building that bond, even virtually. You know, we do whatever we can, and I think that's amazing, and it's how we've been facing those challenges.
Awesome. And I see you both have a lot of love in the chat from your team listening in. I want to hear from the people that did have an experience last year with City Year prior to the pandemic, and comparatively to this year. How has the school supported you both this year and last year during this time? So pre-pandemic and during pandemic. What does the school support look like?
I would say school support, it just like fluctuates based like school by school. And I think primarily here at 206 is support looks like them really just like giving us the runway to really innovate what service looks like. I think since principals and teachers are all still trying to figure out, well, at start of year, just like how to implement virtual learning, how to like deal with this like hybrid model. I think some of the sentiments that I've heard from some of my other peers have been that like a lot of their ideas or services have just been like muted until like everything is like figured out, and then we're able to kind of just like reincorporate what some services look like. But primarily at 206, my principals, my APs, everybody has given me and my team like opportunities to like push in furthermore. So like big shout out to like some of like my ACMs on the team. I have like ACM named Abe who has like designed this literacy programming for our in-school students, and our principal is just like really giving us the runway to like implement that during the school day. We have my academics team who are going to start running like math clubs and LA clubs during the day. So like they're giving us the spaces to support our students, and they're giving us like that trust level. They're giving us the time in order for us to like push in. And ideally, I want to say like carve out like some of like the student spaces that are like really sacred to some teachers, but just because of like the sentiment of what City Year is, like the trust level has been there, and they feel like we're able to like stand our ground and like be able to like support for them more. So I don't know, I think just like having support at the school itself, but just us like all our creativity has just been something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I really feel that like collaboration piece in a time that everyone's looking to each other and learning and growing at the same time. Okay, I want to ask another question regarding the impact of the pandemic. What advice would you give to incoming core members who may be facing a similar experience if things are hybrid still in the beginning of next year?
What I would probably say, and I'll be fully transparent, of course. I know that during this time, it might be very difficult for everybody, and some days might feel very stagnant as opposed to others. And a lot of other days might feel like you're not making as big as an impact on your students. But I would like to say that you are, and even in the littlest ways possible, just showing up for your students. And I mean, for me personally, sometimes I don't even get to see all my students because with attendance, a lot of the students don't show up. And while it can be a little discouraging and stuff, but the advice I would give to incoming core members, I would say, is find the joy in the little things. Because that's basically what I do. Each day, I just find the joy in the little things, and that kind of helps me push through and get me through my days. Just being there for my students, and my school also has after school, and that helps me get through a lot of my days as well, because we do such a great job in all our clubs. We have such a wide range of clubs and activities for the students. I personally do a spoken word club with one of my ACMs, and we love that club. And we have so much other opportunities to do so many other things. And just our after school program itself is just amazing because it allows the students to choose which clubs they want to join, and allow them to just come on and chill out there, sit there and stuff. And I'll just basically just find the joy in the little things, because being that this is a difficult time, and you know, a lot of us are still getting used to blended learning. Just find the joy in the little things. Yeah, keep it simple.
I totally agree with that one. Anyone else want to jump in and answer that?
Yeah, so my main advice would be just be flexible and to be open to many changes as possible. And when I mean by many changes, I mean a lot of changes. Because I know for the past 6 months, actually 7 months actually, for the past 7 months in 123, especially in our after school space, like majority, if not all the classes were remote, and my teammates were remote like majority of the time. And that's definitely in class, as what Alicia said, like the students, the parents are using it on. The participation may fluctuate by day, and attendance will fluctuate by day, and such and such. But more importantly, the after school space, it's really like vibrant in many ways, and that's what I find a lot of joy in. Although despite the fact that for past months, like the after school choice club to be precise, has been constantly changing every cycle. But the purpose is that it's just so we can adapt to remote learning or something that's more um, feasible in remote. And on that note, the reason that being like we should be flexible and being fully transparent and also being fully adaptable is because like this like remote learning or hybrid learning is just a new thing. This is not something that's been practiced like years prior. So basically like just being like fully adaptable and being open to transparency and being quick to act and not to judge is something that is very, very vital for from this point forward. And like what Alicia said, I find like little joy in little things. And you know, for me, like when I go along to class, I made like a slight joke in like in my class. I know like my 8 a.m. math class, I just like good morning class, everyone's still sleeping, and then everyone's typing chats like maybe, no. Something turn on the cameras. I was like, oh great, like thank you. Like I can finally see your face and then just bang, turn the camera off. I'm like, oh, okay, great seeing you, so let's get to math. It was fun. And then after school it's more like a lot of activities from the leadership to STEM to wellness, especially for the events made and the choice clubs. Just like what they all have in common is the joy that students have, just coming in, just really just chilling out really. That's all I can say. But yeah, be flexible and be open.
I also agree with that one. Has there been any specific students that have inspired any of you this year? Love hearing about student stories.
I definitely have quite a few students who inspire me every day, but I have one specifically. Um, their name is CYNY. I won't use last name just to remain anonymous, but CYNY is one of my favorite students, and CYNY puts their all in every single day. Sometimes I need CYNY just to get myself inspired. Like their energy and the way that they just fill every space. It's like having another citier in every space, having someone and a student so passionate and so ready to work and so ready to say good morning and be in every space. That student has definitely inspired me. I got that student to participate in after school, and that was like one of my proudest moments as a citier. Was like, yes, Sairi, you're in after school. We can see you every day. It was fantastic, and it's that student has done like some incredible things for me, like getting to feel impactful because sometimes during virtual service doesn't feel like you're doing anything. Sometimes what you're doing gets lost in the shuffle, and knowing that that student is there and that student wants me to be involved and is seeing my impact, it's been great. And that student has allowed me to kind of feel more impactful this year. So shout out to them.
Awesome. Any other standout students that have inspired you this year?
Yes. I have one of my students who I've known, of course, since last year, and just seeing her growth from last year to this year has just been super amazing. Her name is Sonia, and she is a yes, she is, yeah. She has a big personality. And me and her, our bond has grown so much, and we are very close. And I don't really work with her during the day, but I see her in after school. And the reason why she inspires me is because she comes to after school every single day, and she just shows up, like she's just always there, always present. She's always expressing herself, and um, another reason why she inspires me is because she realized how much education is important, especially for herself. Um, yeah, her academic growth from before and this year has been exponential. And just seeing that she believes in herself now, because before it was, I had to encourage her, always believe in yourself, always believe in yourself. And she's just like, thank you. She always lets me know that I encourage her to be her best self. And just seeing that she now has so much confidence in herself, it really is inspirational to me. Just seeing that she now has that confidence, and she's working hard. And there was one day that I think her device wasn't working, and she did all her homework on her phone. And I was like, wow, just like the dedication is real. Yeah, I love her. She's amazing.
Awesome. We have so many great kids in our schools, and it gives me every reason to show up every day with my whole self. Okay, looking forward, where do you see the most room for growth in terms of virtual and hybrid learning for the future? Question's a little tricky.
I could take a shot at that. I think biggest areas of growth really dial into just like the students' learning styles inside of our virtual and in-person learning. I know, especially for me, I am someone who learns like with their hands, basically like doing things physically. And I think a lot of what virtual learning has been is just like learning through a computer screen or like typing on the keyboard, which are really dope skills, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that learning really captivates without like hands-on activities. Like one of the things that I always, well, last year in my first 2 years as an IM, that I always told my team is when you approach like a science club, I want you to like blow something up, right? Like do like a rocket ship, do something that the kids are really going to get excited about. And I think coming into this year, trying to like adapt so much content and learning and just like student experience through a computer screen has been super challenging. And it makes you think like, what does that enrichment feel look like virtually? What does like hands-on activities or just like hands-on learning look like? And I think that is still one of the areas where I'm still trying to like figure out what does the rest of this year look like? What does next year look like? So curious to see what creativity, like our teachers, our school administration, my team, myself, my partner, like what we all kind of like come up with, just to like address what that type of like activity could look like. But that's one of my growth areas, so I'm curious to see how we can maximize.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's been really inspiring to see the ways that like we are learning to do more hands-on stuff virtually. But obviously there's still so much learning to do. And definitely the hybrid model and all like as Alex was saying, like you have to be open to being flexible because things are constantly changing, but in amazing ways. Anyone else want to try answering that question?
Of
Yeah.
course. Sorry.
I can make it brief. I think going forward, looking at the hybrid model, like there will definitely be some sort of a learning curve among students because I noticed that like at least for some students or even from the experience I had in the past, like sometimes when sometimes some students in a classroom with 20 other kids, they may not perform too well, but then when they're like remote or something, like just, in like their own space, they can do well, kind of like an introvert and extrovert thing. And then, yeah, we have students in class and they're doing so well, but in their remote setting, they're in an introverted setting, basically. They may not do so well. So that's something that I see. It is a challenge that I would say that it's not like not easily to mitigate, but it's something that will probably come up from time forward. We're doing hybrid, so definitely something around that realm of like the remote and hybrid. Because I know like one of the students I have, his first name is Sean, and when he was a sixth or something, seventh grade cohort, when he was in sixth grade, he kind of struggled a little bit academically, but now since it's most remote, he's been like doing really well. Like, he's like going at it every single assignment, just completing it. Sometimes just doing it before the class even starts. I'm like, really? Come on, like, come on, dude. Class haven't started yet. So that's one thing. And then there are others, some students who definitely do struggle remote and definitely need like some like connection. So it's kind of like the human connection in a way. So that's something to be more outreach and the rest being remote. So that's something that I think that thing is like a work in progress from here on.
Riley, do you want to add anything?
Yes, I'll also be brief. One of the largest issues that I've noticed with remote service and hybrid service is the inequity of technology in homes. I know some schools have been fortunate enough to receive grants that allow each of their students to have a similar technology, but one thing that we struggle with greatly at 123 is that some of our students are not using the same technology, having to navigate students who are using an iPad versus a tablet versus a computer, and all of them have different requirements and different issues that we need to face. But it's hard to provide support when every student needs such intentional and focused support because of their lack of technology. That's something that in order to continue making remote service better and better needs to be faced, specifically at 123. And I'm sure every city can relate to that in some way, that these families deserve technology that works and technology that allows their children to learn. And that's something that is a huge area of growth continuing this year.
Awesome. Thank you for raising that. I was definitely going to add that in there as well. Okay, our final question, because we have 5 more minutes. I wanted to ask you all, if you could give one of your students an award right now, what would that award be and which student would you give it to?
I can't think of one student. I think I would give the award to most of my students. I would definitely say most dedicated and improved. Just like Riley and Alex have said, a lot of the students have really improved working individually and working at home by themselves. And they definitely deserve an award. They definitely deserve an award, because I know while it's hard not being in the schools with all the other students, they've definitely grown exponentially in their academics as a person, and they've really matured over the year. While we're going through all this, they're also going through all this, and yeah, they have learned so much in this past year through this pandemic and working virtually. And I definitely would give most of my students the most dedicated and improved award, because they deserve it.
I want to piggyback on that. I also would give all of my kids like the same type of award. Like the idea of just like how resilient they've been and just like transitioning from in person to virtual has been crazy to me. I think even for me as like someone who is like up in age, I would say like at a very older age, like transitioning from like a in-person kind of like support to just like being completely virtual has its like opportunities where like I feel like I'm overwhelmed at times, where I just can't really manage too many moving pieces, especially with like everything happening on just like one device. It's like communication, like you building out like spreadsheets, like engagement, everything is just all centered through this like one like technical platform. And I think that at times have really pushed me and really has challenged me. So seeing them just like transition from like this in-person learning, which we've learned, like we've only known our entire lives, to just like now being virtual has been something that I'm really, really happy about. So definitely like the resilience would be like the key award that I would give my students.
Amazing. Probably have time for just one more, if either of you can think of a student. I know you work with the same students too.
Yeah, so of course I want to give all my students an award, but I think a good title of my award would be like kids still being kids in a virtual space. Like it's a weird award, but one of my favorite things ever is like coming into a virtual space early when I'm like the first teacher there and catching them talking about Among Us or playing like Among Us games together or like connecting about Fortnite. It brings me so much joy, and it's like that's kids being kids in a pandemic, and they laugh and they joke around, and I feel like they deserve to have an award for that, because that's like SEL, and that's still finding ways to the kids still being kids in a pandemic.
Amazing. Well, thank you all again for being here today. We had 4 different city or schools represented in this call, so it's really awesome to hear all those different experiences and perspectives, and about all the amazing children that we are working with this year. I'll pass it back over to Natalia to close us out.
Thank you, Emily. I'm happy that everyone's able to join us today and listen to our lovely panelists answer so tough questions, but they all answered it with hearts and experience. And so thank you again. Give it up, y'all. Give it up for our lovely, lovely panelists. Throw some love in that chat. Thank you, everyone, for joining your first session in our lovely MLK Day. We have a nice 15-minute break, and then we'll join our back in a different session, whichever one you will choose. So enjoy at 11. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.